Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I wanted to do kind of a fishing report on Lake Chickamauga slash Big Bass Tour preview, because the Big Bass Tour is coming to Chickamauga May, I think it's 16th through the 18th, and it's a great circuit for that Big Bass format. I actually used to host their show, the Big Bass Tour show, back when it was called the Oakley Big Bass Tour. And you know, it was an awesome experience, and those guys have been friends of mine and supporters of mine for many years since. So I'm actually going to be working the event all 3 days, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. But I wanted to do a video to kind of support the folks that are going out and fishing that event, and also everybody that wants to fish Chickamauga, you know, during this time of year. This will be a good video to kind of break down what you might expect to throw. Anyways, yeah. And before we get into the weeds on this video, just wanted to mention that I've got a link to the Big Bass Tours registration site. So if you're looking for a fun tournament to fish, that is an awesome event. They run a really cool tournament. The grand prize is a nitro bass boat, and then they've also got hourly win prizes too throughout the event, so you can cash in on a bunch of different prizes. And you know, on Lake Chickamauga, I mean, that's not really asking for a lot to catch 3 or 4 fish in a day that can allow you to cash in on those hourly wins. So really cool tournament, great format, great guys, and great prizes too. So the link will be in the description below. But anyways, let's get into the fishing on Lake Chickamauga right now. Like I said, May is one of my favorite months to fish Lake Chickamauga. June is kind of a close second, because June is when the fish really start getting out on the ledges heavy and grouping up, and that is just a whole other time period that I really like to catch fish out here. But May is very all over the place, okay? That's one of the things I love about May, is the fact that you do have fish getting in the post-spawn mode. In fact, I just troll motored down this edge of reeds trying to look for spawners, and saw a ton of not fry garters, a couple fry garters, but saw, you know, some small clouds of fry. So there's definitely a lot of fish that are in the post-spawn mode, which is not surprising. But there's also a ton of fish that are still up shallow. In fact, today I caught, my biggest was like 7.5 off the beds. I might put some footage in there. And several good fish in the 4 and 3 pound class. I mean, there's still a ton of good fish up shallow. I've seen a couple fish that had to be in the double digits. I mean, there are some bruisers out there. Definitely opportunities to win the grand prize, let alone, you know, the hourly prizes. So you can pretty much do anything you want. That is kind of the great thing about May on Lake Chickamauga. You'd think that it's a little bit too late for you know, a big wave of spawners, but Chickamauga is kind of unique. I've learned over the years living here that they really don't, the major waves of spawners actually wait until May. They wait for the water to get stable at full pool. Given the TVA is kind of doing some different things nowadays in the last few years, but generally speaking, you know, the full pool level it doesn't get to that point until, you know, around right now in May. And so generally that's when the wave will of spawners will come up, you know, for the most part. They do start a little bit earlier than that, and they'll go all the way into June. You know, I've seen some really big fish just straight up locked onto beds in June. So let's go through like the shallow arsenal that I have first. I don't have all the deep tackle that I'm going to be using, you know, for the lead fishing, but I'll you know, talk about everything. And all the stuff that I'm talking about, that I recommend for this month is going to be in the description below. I'm going to have the affiliate links for that. So if you're looking to purchase any of this stuff, you know, consider using those links. It helps support the channel. All right, so fishing shallow, one of the first things that I'm going to pick up is going to be a swim jig. So we got a swim jig right here. This right here is the Core Tackle swim jig with the Z-Man turbo fatties on the back. I love this combo. Swim jig is going to be a really good bait to cover water. It's not necessarily going to be the best big bass bait, but it's going to allow you to cover water and start finding those areas that is going to be holding fish, because not every protected bay, not every stretch of reeds, not every pocket, not every spawning area that looks good is going to have fish. So you really have to cover a lot of water to find those sweet spots, those stretches that do have the population of fish. And a swim jig is going to allow you to do that, especially if it's cloudy. It's a really good bait to just get on a reed line or skip around docks or any place you think the fish are spawning. This is going to be a good one to just cover water with. Okay, but once you find an area that has some fish in it, you're starting to get some bites, get some roll on the swim jig, hopefully even catch a few. That's when you want to start slowing down and really looking. Okay, and what I like to fish, this is going to be one of your absolute key baits for Lake Chickamauga. I like to fish a Wacky Rig stick bait. Okay, I'm going to be using, generally my favorite color is like baby bass if you're using, a non-Z-Man brand product. But if you're using like the Z-Man Zinkers, which I have in the description below, the Game Changer color is going to be a really good choice. But baby bass, Game Changer, those are the colors out here on Chick. I mean, that's the only color that you really need. You can get bit on green pumpkin and watermelon red and stuff like that, but you're going to get way more bites on this color for sure. And all the tackle that I fish with this, I'll put in the description too. I would beef up. Don't go light for the big bass tour. The whole idea is to catch big fish. I'm using 15-pound test leader. This is the Seagar Gold Label. So I'm definitely, and then I've got braided mainline. I'm definitely going pretty heavy duty for fishing that Wacky Rig. But the Wacky Rig is going to be a great bait for casting around docks, fishing anywhere that the fish are going to spawn, reed lines, pockets in the reeds, all that stuff underneath cypress trees, stumps. Those are all going to be good places to really focus your efforts on Lake Chickamauga this time of year for spawners. And that Wacky Rig, it doesn't matter how many people get onto that bite, it just keeps producing big ones. That's what I caught all of my fish on today that I was sight fishing. And so that's going to be a huge player. There's some, other baits that you can throw as well, but I'm telling you, if you just keep that Wacky Rig in your hand, once you find a fish, maybe swap between different baits. If there's one that's locked on the bed, I mean, the Wacky Rig's not always going to be the bait to catch a fish that's locked on. But, I've caught them on drop shots pretty good. I've caught them on Ned rigs pretty good, creature baits and stuff like that. But the Wacky Rig is going to be kind of your key as you're breaking down these areas. Another bait that you definitely want to throw if the water's a little bit dirtier where you're fishing, maybe you've got some cloud cover, maybe it's raining or something like that. If it's raining, pick this thing up. A poppin' frog is going to be really good if you're fishing like reed lines. This is what I'd really suggest. So this is my favorite one. This is the Gambler poppin' frog. I'll have the link down below, but this one, or really your favorite poppin' frog, is going to work really good. And the reason why I'm saying a poppin' frog versus a walking frog is just because I like to keep it in the strike zone longer, which is right above their beds. So I'm going to be casting this into little pockets in the reeds and just working it real slow. you know, and that's a really good way to not necessarily get a ton of bites, but you're gonna get the right one. You know, when you get a bite, it's gonna be the right one. Gosh, this osprey's going nuts. But the popping frog is going to be really good. Another shallow bait that is quickly becoming one of my favorites is this little 4.5 inch Z-Man Shadtron LT. This is a really good one, kind of not necessarily a replacement, but a complement to the swim jig. It's just more realistic. You know, it looks like a shad, and you can cover just as much water with it. It's more weedless than you would think, and so it's just a really good one, catching a lot of fish on it, and I think I catch bigger fish too, and the landing percentage is better too because it's a line through swim bait. All right, so that's kind of the shallow arsenal. It's all about finding you know, spawning fish, and that's a great way to catch some giants. You know, go out there, put the trolling motor on high, find some fish locked on the bed, and use those baits that I just talked about. However, if you do like to fish offshore a little bit more, which there's going to be plenty of fish offshore during the event, it's going to be great for you to go ahead and you know, fish things like a big shaky head. You know, I use a bait called the Mag Fatties from Z-Man. It's a straight tail worm. The plum color is the real big key here. Let me see if I can find one for you. Here we go. Yeah, that's the first one I found. So plum colored Mag Fatties, or your favorite you know, big worm, is really good. You can use a ribbon tail worm too. That works really well. I like the Mag Fatties because it does float. It's very buoyant. So and I like to fish it this time of year on a big shaky head. There's a company called Secret Lures. They make a big shaky head called the Lead Shaker. That's the one I like to use with this. It's hard to screw a Laztec into the you know, bait keeper, but it's not impossible. But whatever you're using, I do like to use a big shaky head more than I do a Texas rig. And then beyond that, if you do find a school of fish, don't hesitate to throw like a Strike King 5XD or your favorite deep diving crankbait. This is a really good time to throw those crankbaits. They really get on the crankbait bite in May and in early June, and then that's once you get past like middle of June or late June, they start getting into more finesse stuff. But speaking of finesse, drop shots are always going to be really good out here. Morning Dawn is a really good color for finessing them. Nico rigs, things like that, are going to also produce if you need to get finessey, the current's not running, the fish are pressured, whatever it is. But the crankbait I've done really well with in the past, you know, and you only get a narrow window of opportunity here to throw it. Another bait that definitely needs to be in your arsenal if you're fishing deep is a big spoon. And, you know, a good flutter spoon doesn't have to be like the biggest of the flutter spoons. I actually like the 5-inch flutter spoons a lot, but I'll also carry like the big 10-inch ones as well. And those are going to be big, you know, real key baits for right now too. Another bait that you'd want to consider is a you know, swim bait that you can get down deep. You know, those are, I'll try to put some options in the description below that you might want to check out. But overall, you know, just a swim bait that you can get down to the ledges. And the one thing about the ledge bite that I've found is you want to just reel it real slow and tick the bottom. That seems to be the key with whatever swim bait you use, but swim baits do play a role this time of year. Outside of that, I mean, those are the deep baits that I really like to throw. I'm not saying you can't catch them other ways, but those are the baits that I really like to focus on this time of year. But one thing I will say is that in recent years, you know, it seems like 4 years ago and before, the reaction bite was really good. Like, you could throw those big crankbaits, those big spoons, the swim baits and all that stuff and do really, really well. Recently, I feel like the pressure has gotten to the fish to the point where you really have to finesse them a little bit more. So the drop shot is a big player. You know, do not leave a school of fish without throwing a morning dawn drop shot on them. And then also, you know, shaky head is something that I throw out there. So anyways, those are some of the options that I really like this time of year, but it really doesn't matter, man, what you like to do. You can catch whatever size fish you want this time of year, shallow or deep. So you just need to pick your poison. And for a lot of people, that's going to mean, you know, fishing shallow. For others, it's going to mean fishing the ledges, fishing current related stuff. So anyways, guys, just wanted to give you a real quick kind of breakdown of how I would approach the Big Bass Tour weekend. And again, we've got the link for registration down below. Check it out. If you're looking for just a fun event to fish with a friend or a family member, you know, son or daughter, this is a fantastic tournament to do. It's just all fun, and there's some really great prizes. So anyways, guys, hopefully this helps. I look forward to seeing you the weekend of the 16th through the 18th at the Big Bass Tour here in Dayton. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to see you out on the water. Trust the process.